taking C. We lost C.
Hello YouTube, this is World of War Black Ops Pro, and today I have some more World of War gameplay, because I just thought of a good idea for Treyarch's next game in 2015. You know, one that really hasn't been thought of before. Now, remember how I said we should bring vehicles back in Call of Duty next year? Because in World of War they have them, and World of War they actually worked well. They're only on certain maps, and they didn't really completely dominate the map. You didn't have to use them if you didn't want to. But now, I thought of another idea, like something that would make the game more like Battlefield in a way. Now, for one thing, there should be a playlist that's just normal. That's just like a normal playlist without vehicles, you know, with like standard game modes like Team Deathmatch and Domination and things like that, like ground-based game modes, no vehicles whatsoever. Just normal game modes that people love and enjoy. Now, the second one should be vehicle-based. And there should be much larger maps like CeeLo from this. Now, if you guys haven't played the map CeeLo, that's one of the biggest maps in COD history. It's about twice as big as a Ghost map would be, and now that's huge. And now sometimes you can go for minutes, literally without running into people. That's how big it is, and there are 4 tanks on the map, and it works pretty well. It adds a new element to gameplay, because you have tank versus tank, you have infantry versus infantry, you have snipers in the back. It's just really fun. So they should definitely make a tank game mode, or I'm not sure what kind of vehicles they're gonna have, but tanks would be interesting. They should maybe they should have other vehicles such as half tracks, or just things like that, and it should be more like a ground war. So, for one thing, they should have vehicles, definitely. What type of vehicles? It doesn't really matter too much. I mean, I prefer tanks, but it doesn't. It's more about it's just a different experience, you know, driving a vehicle around rather than running around. You definitely have big maps, because you need big maps to move around in these vehicles. I mean, sure, there was a small map in World at War called Roundhouse, which had 2 tanks. It was bigger than Nuketown, I mean, but it was still a relatively small map. It'd be a medium-sized map by newer Call of Duty standards. And then what we should also have make it kind of like Ground War, but you probably need more than 18 players for something like this. So probably maybe 20 to 24 players, I think would be decent. It'd just be an interesting experiment, because, like, you know, some people don't like the tanks in World at War because it makes the game too much like Battlefield, and people just control the tanks. They always go for the tanks, and they race over the tanks, and they spend a lot of the game in the tanks. Well, it'd just be interesting to try it out, and I think it would work. Because in this game, I mean, yeah, sure, only like 4 or 5 maps actually have tanks, but if you ran into those in rotation, you were kind of forced to play them. But wouldn't be the case in Treyarch's next game if they made it so. Yeah, there was a no vehicle playlist, and there was a vehicle playlist, and it would just be really interesting. I think it'd be really fun. And having tanks in addition to regular kill streaks, that'd be pretty epic. Wouldn't you think? I mean, sure, that would kind of get rid of people complaining about how this game is too much like Battlefield, because they could just go to the normal playlist and play Call of Duty. Because, you know, I really like that. That's one of the reasons I like World of War, because of the tanks. I mean, sure, some people think they're overpowered, but they're really not, because they're counters. Things that have counters generally aren't overpowered. One of the counters are satchels. So satchels times 2 is perk 1 in this game, and what you do is you throw a satchel at a tank, and it damages it. And you get 2 of those satchel charges. You can also run a sticky grenade. Now, the sticky grenade, you just throw it on a tank and it blows it up. It does quite a bit of damage. So if you know how to take out tanks properly, you can kill 1 tank with 2 satchels and a sticky grenade, or you can even kill it with 1 satchel if you just throw it right underneath the tank and blow it up from its underside. And that would work. So, because tanks are not overpowered, and they just add a different element of Call of Duty that, you know, I think it would revive the franchise. I really do think it would make the game better. I mean, the worst it could do is be like low populated. That's the worst that could happen. Is it'll be lowly populated, but that's probably not going to be the case. And No, I don't see how this would hurt the franchise at all. Really, I mean, sure, they put tanks on every map, and they made it like they only made one playlist, and they put tanks on every map. Yeah, that could definitely hurt the franchise because people don't want to play. People don't want to deal with tanks all the time. I mean, that includes me. Like sometimes I just like playing normal. I don't really like hopping to tanks all the time. But once in a while, they're fine. And you guys know, guys, they kind of have to go back to what they did with World at War and with Black Ops 1. Because I was on Black Ops 1 earlier today. Because, you know, my AW is still not fixed. Or my AW, I still haven't exchanged it yet. I probably will do that sometime soon. I mean, I'm trying to do that soon, but in the meantime, I'm going to be playing older Call of Duties and bringing you guys some older footage. Because I feel like a lot of you guys out there, especially people who've started playing the franchise after Modern Warfare 3, or, I mean, Modern Warfare 3 or after, really haven't gotten to experience what older Call of Duty feels like, what the classic Call of Duty feels like. And if you guys haven't done so, I would definitely recommend you guys go buy those games. Like, COD 4 is a great game. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's great. It's really fun. I mean, sure, there is overpowered stuff like Frag Times 3 and things like that, but it's still a really good game. The maps are good. Pretty much everything's good about that, except for some of the balancing issues. And now World at War is good. I mean, there's still some balancing issues like the MP40 and Juggernaut, but overall, the setting's really nice. The maps are nice. I mean, sure, it is somewhat so slow paced, but sometimes the matchmaking is like 3v3 TDM, and that kind of explains for itself why it's so slow. Also, the maps are pretty big. Like I was talking about CeeLo, like one of the biggest maps in Call of Duty history. It's literally like twice as big as like a large Black Ops 2 map. Like Turbine is not even a large map compared to CeeLo. I definitely recommend you guys check out this game because I really like it, so I think you guys would too. And also, Modern Warfare 2, I mean, it has a lot of BS, but it's still a fun game to play. I mean, it's fun, but it's unbalanced. I mean, mainly with the one-man army noob tubes, but, you know, the kill streaks are always fun to use. Now, in Black Ops 1, Black Ops 1's really where it had it best, where Call of Duty's got the formula right. Black Ops 1 lacks the bullshit that makes a lot of people turn away from the franchise. And it has enough there to keep you coming back, wanting more. Like in terms of kill streaks, and in terms of gun variety, and really in terms of everything. And that's why I like it. To this day, I still like Black Ops 1. And that's why I compare Black Ops 1 to pretty much every other game that's come out in the Call of Duty franchise so far. Because that's what Call of Duty's potential is. I know Call of Duty can go back to the days of Black Ops 1, and that would fix the franchise. That really would. But unfortunately, there's so many special interests and all these other things that are standing in the way from that becoming a reality. You know, if you guys really haven't played Black Ops 1, I definitely recommend you guys do that. I mean, if you find no other Call of Duty game, like if you listen to nothing else I say, just go, like, listen to this. Like, go buy Black Ops 1 because you won't be disappointed, or at least you shouldn't be. Because that game, it's the most balanced game. You can rush in that game, you can camp, you can do pretty much anything. It's not like Ghost where you're forced to camp in a corner, otherwise you're not going to do well. There's really no sound whoring. That's not, or at least it's not a big issue. There's no like one gun that everybody just uses. It's not Ball of Duty. People aren't jumping around on jetpacks. The maps are nice. In fact, like many fan favorite maps are in that game, such as Nuketown, Firing Range, and Summit. Those are just 3. But of course, I like all the maps. There's no map that I just absolutely hate in that game. They're all fun to play. They all work well. The kill streak's also pretty good too. Kill streaks in some ways are even better than Modern Warfare 2 kill streaks because the chopper gunner, I mean, the screen's not all blurry or fuzzy. And plus, it only costs 9 kills to get. And also, there's a gunship, which is basically like a VTOL warship, but you can move it around easier. And yeah, it's basically like a VTOL warship. Also, the Blackbird is the same as the VSAT, so it's like Black Ops 2, just without the BS, with better map design. You know, that's why Call of Duty kind of peaked at that point, because Black Ops 1 did its job so well. And that was when Call of Duty peaked. And if Call of Duty wants to revive itself, all they have to do is go back to the Black Ops 1 formula. And I hope they do. They got it right then. And if they could just do that, if they can just take that formula, same formula, maybe make a World War II game I would definitely like that. I mean, Create a Class 2.0 is also great. It didn't allow you to make overpowered setups because you can only choose 3 perks. You couldn't do greed, you couldn't do all this other crap that you could in newer Call of Duty. And what they need to do is just make another World War II Call of Duty game, but implement the Black Ops 1 Create a Class, the Black Ops 1 map design, just things like that, and I think it'd be a great game. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. This has been World at War, and see you guys later.